Are we live? Are we live? Can someone tell me if we're live? Are we live? Are we live? Tell me in the chat if we're live and we will get on with this. Oh, man. Okay, game one in the books. Devils lose 6-3. Not going to continue talking until someone in the comments section in the live chat tells me that we are live. Let me see. Don't have no one. No one's done it yet. But it looks like we are live. Okay. Devils dropped this one 6-3. First game to the Carolina Hurricanes. They are 0-1 and 0 on the season. Where do we start with this one? I feel like we should probably, kind of dive into the bigger picture takeaways from this one. And the biggest point of all, I would say, we'll just dive into the notebook right here, is that the Devils still don't have any answers for this relentless. Relentless is really the only word that you could use to describe it. To describe the Carolina Hurricanes forecheck and their system. I mean, heck, like I think for years they haven't had an answer to it since the 2022-23 playoff series. They haven't had. I had flashbacks to that series when I'm just sitting here in the press box here at the Lenovo Center. It looked like the same team that hasn't been able to figure this out. Sheldon Keefe said back in April, he had a quote that stuck out to me. He said that it's going to be his big summer project to figure out what the heck went wrong with this team from January on. Okay, and I assume by that he means the 5-on-5 scoring, which took a big decline afterwards. But I think this guy needs to do a deep dive on how to stop this Carolina Hurricanes forecheck and really combat that system, because this is a team that's not going away, right? Like if the Devils want to go to a Stanley Cup, if they want to win this the East in what is now a depleted Eastern Conference, they're going to have to compete with this Carolina Hurricanes team, right? They don't have a say in the matter, right? This Hurricanes team, they look complete. They are once again, relentless is the word that I'm still going to use to describe them. You have to somehow counteract this forecheck, because this is a team you're going to be seeing for the next umpteenth years in the playoffs. Figure it out. I mean, listen, I asked some of the players after the game. I asked Keith after the game how you really combat that. A couple of them had some good answers. I mean, Bratt and Keith honed in on just breakout passes, right? Like that, and that's what I've been honing in on too. It's like simple passes to get out of this forecheck. Passes off the boards. Things like that, filling lanes, great skating can combat the forecheck. Bratt made another interesting note is that tiring them out, right? I think there were some times where the Devils did settle into things a little bit, and where they did take advantage of that aggressive style that the Hurricanes have. I think the Luke Hughes stretch pass to Cody Glass, that was a good example of what how you attack this Hurricanes team that is, again, so aggressive. um, you kind of tire them out a little bit. That's what Jesper Bratt said. You tire them out, and that's how you combat this team. But let's kind of break into some of my notes here. That's my big picture takeaway, is that you need to somehow find a way to counteract this really aggressive forecheck that Carolina has. Another big problem that I noticed tonight. I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but the takeaways the giveaways rather, were a really big problem. In the first period alone, New Jersey had 11. By the end of the second period, they had 20. I don't have the end of the third period stats because we just wrapped up with Keith. Um, that I think is another kind of big problematic thing that happened tonight, was that just too many errant passes from this Devils team, right? You saw it. Trying to think of a specific example. I saw a few from Dawson Mercer there. I think Timo had a turnover tonight. The usual suspect. I mean, Dougie had a couple turnovers, but I'm not going to rag on Dougie really that much, because I think that he had a fine game, a really good game. But yeah, let's hear from you guys. Say in the chat what's on your mind right now, and if not, I'll answer any questions you have. I should give you guys some updates too. So we have Keith gave an update on Dadanov, who Did not play. He played like 59 seconds. He got like two shifts in the third period. And we were curious as to why. I thought maybe it was like a I thought Keefe was leading onto Andre Palat to try to get a jolt of offense going, but no, it was it took a puck to the hand. Dadonov did. X-rays came up negative, which is a really good sign. Usually, negative equals good X-rays. But Keefe mentioned that he couldn't hold his stick at one point. He'll be evaluated. We'll see what's up going forward, but it sounded pretty positive. Guys, tell me in the comments what you guys want to do. Set the agenda. The agenda is all yours. Let's vent about these Devils today and what they did at this game. Obviously, a ugly opening game for them. Penalties were killer. I know the obvious thing is to kind of rag on Luke. For uh, that bad slashing penalty towards the end of the game, which Keandre Miller obviously Cat was able to capitalize on. But we're going to do the obvious thing here. You can't take a penalty in that situation. I thought Luke looked really good overall. That stretch pass to Cody Glass, which created a 2-on-1 opportunity for Glass. Yeah, that was good. All right, let's see some of the comments here. Shout at the Devils. Thank you for shouting me out for using the word umpteeth. It's one of my favorite words. Erica Rosenbaum here says it just looked like another playoff game versus the Canes. I agree. Getting overwhelmed out of the gate and never getting back into their game. It's an interesting point. I completely agree. And again, like I mentioned off the top here, this feels like this. It feels like nothing has changed since that 22-23 series, right? In the playoffs versus the Hurricanes. Listen, I'm not sounding the alarms over game one. It's they're 0-1-0, right? Like this is there's 81 left to these, right? But it's like when the Devils, when Devils fans were chanting "Fire Lindy," and I'm not advocating any firing, not right now. Um, but it's like when they went 0-1-0 and Devils fans are already chanting to fire the coach. The reason that they're chanting fire the coach is not because they're 0-1-0 or 0-2-0, whatever they were. It's because things didn't change. And again, I only use that as an analogy to say things look like they haven't changed from the past several Carolina Hurricane series. Okay, Dime Season says, was Nemec rough on the with the eye test, or is it just the chart saying was? Yeah, no, I think Nemec had this was not one of Nemec's finer games. Trying to think of an exact example. I can't really give you one off the top of my head because I think I was more like laser focused on Luke tonight. And whenever Nemec was on the ice, I think I just I don't watch the game very well, so I guess it can't give you an exact example, but I think that there were some minus plays for him. Basic guy, love him, but getting kind of tired of the seeing jack passes that go the other way. Yeah, listen, I was actually in the elevator when that all went down. I saw the replay afterwards. That is stuff that he does when it's not in an empty net situation, and those kind of like for every there are a billion positive things that outweighs these negative things from Jack. But I think cleaning up those mistakes. Listen, star players are going to have turnovers like that. They're going to have giveaways. Usually, you look at the leaders and giveaways for any given season, and it's usually the star players. It's like the McKinnons, it's the McDavid, stuff like that. Hughes is obviously up there too. But stuff like that, passes like that, really need to try to clean those up a little bit. All right, Andy, let's see what you got. Not a big deal, game one, but just sucks. They look like exactly the same against the Canes as they always have. Yeah, I completely agree. As I just touched on again, the analogy that I give is like when Devils fans are chanting to fire the coach, like a couple years ago, they're doing that not because the season started 0-1. They're doing it because it looks like a continuation of what happened in previous years. Again, I'm not saying no firing of any coaches right now. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that I'm using it as an analogy to say people want changes against these Hurricanes. I mean, Dougie Hamilton, I think, had a pretty telling quote after the game, and he laid it out pretty bluntly. He just said, basically, if this team wants to make any noise this year, I'm paraphrasing him a little bit, they have to figure out how to combat this really tough, aggressive, fast, quick, and I'm going to use that word again, relentless Carolina Hurricanes attack, man. I mean, they're an imposing forechecking force, and one that that systematically, like I feel like in all three zones that they pounce on whatever the Devils do. It's not even just the forechecks. It's like I said, like they capitalize on so many of those errant passes that the Devils had tonight, and that was one of the things that really stood out to me. Our basic guy again. Thank you, basic guy, for being so active in the chat tonight. I wish I'm honestly, I'm not gonna be honest with you guys. I wanted a Devils win tonight because I wanted us to have a real active chat. I mean, I guess fans they're not quite ready to completely dump on the team yet, but especially at 0-1. But right now, get more people in the chat, okay, and like and subscribe, of course. Um, Absolutely, you live with it because he's a great player, and normally he's one of our best zone entry players. It's just periodically those passes stand out. It's heartbreaking. Yeah, no, listen, it's the ones that do stand out that make you again, like, make you talk about it after the game, because usually they come on situations where a big goal comes as a result of it. But Jack of course will cancel that out with a lot of his with all the points that he puts up this year. Let me dip back into my notes here real quick. um Let's see. Okay, yeah. Dime season brings up Glass. I want to talk about him too. So it's funny. We were talking about it in our little Devils beat writers group chat. I was talking with Slippin' Jimmy Nichols and Daniel Amawa, and we were just discussing like Glass, and we were like, at first we were like, all right, yeah, this is Glass at 3C might be a bit of an issue this year. He quickly flipped that around within the matter of like seconds. He flipped that around. He When he had that goal, which was, I said top cheddar on Twitter. I guess I have to use, he was top mutz, right? It was top Regota. Um, that goal was awesome. And the stretch pass that Luke had on it, slices it through two defenders, through two aggressive Carolina defenders. Again, taking advantage of those when Carolina's aggressive. That's what you got to do. But he diced that through, and you know that goal from Glass was just awesome. Uh, I think the only reason that I think we point out Glass being problematic at the beginning of the game was because I think we just saw his line getting hemmed in early on there when Carolina had, just that stretch there. I think in the first 4 minutes or so, where they just are peppering Markstrom with chance after chance, high danger chance after high danger chance. I think there was like four at one point, and Markstrom looked really good early on. Let's get to him. Let's see what some of the comments are saying right now. Prior to him missing the third, did you like Dadonov at the top line? Yeah, no, I thought he was fine. Listen, I wrote it in my season preview today. Dadonov is just right now. It's kind of a precarious spot that he's in, right? Because he's kind of a floater right now. He's plunked on the top line with Jesper and Jack, and that's fine because he can keep up pace with them. But that's all he's there for, is because he can keep up pace with them. No one's expecting an 80-point season from Dadonov now that he's magically on his line. But I think this team, I think between Dadonov and who I think did play fine tonight. But between Dadonov and Mercer, especially Mercer's the one that I want to hone in on. Um, this top six needs some help. They need Stefan Nason back bad, and they need to make a deal at the deadline. That is for sure. Okay, let's see. Oh wow, a lot of comments pouring in now. Chris Burkhart, hope this isn't the same as it's been since last year. Hate to be that guy, but seems like Fitz didn't make the changes needed. Yeah, I mean, listen, um, I thought the same thing at the beginning of camp, and then I saw camp, and I thought, all right, maybe I was kind of buying into it a little bit. Maybe this team isn't as, like, I think they could be very competitive this year. I think the Devils will be very competitive this year. I stand by my prediction that I think that they could win the Eastern Conference. Um, they just need some help. The Fitzgerald. It was a quiet offseason across the league. Teams that even that teams, when the Devils reached out to them, weren't really budging on deals. Um, Fitzgerald's going to have to do something uncomfortable this year. He's going to have to do the thing that he says that he's pretty uncomfortable with, which is building a team in the regular season. That is something in the past that he said he's pretty against. He's going to have to do that this year. Rounding out this team in the regular season, rounding out that top six, give Jack a scoring wing. That's what you need. This is a guy, Jack is a guy that passes to these dangers. That's why I thought Timo would be such a great fit with him, but evidently he's a better fit with Nico. Jack's a guy that passes to the dangerous areas so incredibly well, and he can wow you with a shot off a goalie's lid, right? And then you stick Dodanov on his wing, and it's like, get him a scoring wing. I like him and Jesper Bratt, obviously, PB and J, right? But get him a scoring wing, and a lot of that will settle in. Get him Jason Robertson. That would be amazing, right? It would be amazing. All right, let's move on here. Was it surprising to see Luke on PP1 without participating again? No. Although it definitely wasn't surprising. I think they see that as just the future, right? Like, he's signed for 7 years now. They see that as the next, decade plus, pretty much, because they'll probably keep the Hughes Bros long term. I think they like them. They just see it as, this is his. We'll give him the keys now, and that's that. I think that's just one of those things that is just a fact right now. Dougie can certainly be that power play quarterback one as well, as we've seen. Sorry, sir, I'm in your way. Sorry, we're all still in the press box here, so this is kind of a weird little setup. But yeah, no, it didn't surprise me, and I thought Luke played fine tonight. That power play though was not great. Touching on that, I had a stat right here. Here's a stat that sums up how bad that power play was tonight. After 2 periods, the Devils' power play had 1 scoring chance for, and while they were on the power play, they gave up 2 scoring chances. Okay, that's pretty darn bad. All right, let's see. What do we have here? Glass ain't the problem. I agree. Again, just early on, we saw him get hemmed in the zone, and that was why we were a little bit critical of Glass early on. Mercer still looks like nothing what we needed to be. Way too timid around the net. Yeah, listen, I did not like the game from Dawson Mercer tonight. I think there's room to grow, but as I mentioned before, this is a team that's clearly, they need Stefan Nason back because they need someone else in this top 6 right now. I don't know how the rest of that shakes out because I think, quite honestly, as it stands right now, I think that third line can be good. And I don't like Mercer on the as a center, and I think if he went back to the third line, I think he would have to be a center. But I mean, I don't know. It's just fit wise, it's such a mess. I guess you place him on the wing on the third line, and you kind of just figure it out from there. There's gonna be a lot of shuffling around when Nason comes back, but I think again this is a team that could use a guy that was in their top 6 last year in Stefan Nason. I expected to see a bit more energy myself out of Cotter Brown. I know he's capable of being an energizing guy. Also, Cotter, I know he took some bad penalties, but I thought he actually looked good. I agree with Cotter. The penalties, you got to stay out of the box. Connor Brown, listen, a lot of times, sorry, ladies. No, it's all good. So Connor Brown, the one thing I'll say about him, you notice with a lot of these players last year, I think it took the Devils a little bit last year to get adjusted to Sheldon Keefe's system. I don't think it was Lindy Ruff's system level of confusing because I think players will be able to adjust to it, fairly quickly. But I think Connor Brown is, it's game 1, guys. Game 1 of 82. I think he's a product of still getting adjusted to Sheldon Keefe's system, and I think he'll be better as it goes on because I mean he was really good with Andre Palat this preseason. Should not be top line. I don't really know who you're referring to, Chris. It probably was Dadanov or Palat or someone like that. Oh, James Nichols joins the chat. New Jersey Hockey Now. Like and subscribe to them too. Look at him. Look at Nichols riding my coattails. I start my YouTube show and now Nichols is chiming in. I'm just joking, buddy. I'm totally joking. But go like and subscribe to New Jersey Hockey Now. Support your Devils beat. We haven't talked about Markstrom yet. We have gotten right to the end of this stream almost, and we haven't even talked about Markstrom. He was very good early on. Very good. He kept them in that game early on. I think I have the numbers right here. Again, most of my stats are through two periods, but he had stopped 21 of 23, and he had a about point 0.3 saves above expected. Okay. But those Miller goals were where things went really downhill. They were pretty darn soft. The second one, especially unscreened, you have to save that. For as much good as he did, those two were killers. Yeah, yeah. I thought it was it was a peaks and valleys game from Markstrom, who, as I noted in my pregame thoughts. This is a guy that's trying to get paid, so you want to see him step up after that. Couple quick other shout outs here. Let's see. Penalties are killers. Yeah, I mentioned that. Jack looked good. Jack looked good. I thought Carolina's game plan against Jack, and we've already talked about the play at the end there, so we don't have to go back into that. But I think Carolina played Jack about as tough and physically as they could. So I think if there's any way to stop Jack, especially he's so dangerous in the open ice and creating those zone entries and things like that. So um, if there's a way to stop him, it's with that physicality. Let's see. Yeah, that's about it for all my notes. Let's get these last couple questions here, and then we're gonna wrap up here. If you were to place one player in the Hughes Brat line, who's your number one dream player, most realistic out of the deadline? Ooh, man, great question, man. I guess I just want Robertson so bad. I think Robertson would just be Robertson makes this team a cup contender. Um, yeah, it might be Robertson. I'm a Jared McCann guy too, um, and I'm a Jordan Kyrou guy. Any one of those three, if you can get them without giving up, too much of what's in your arsenal that you're trying to get, for the Quinn trade that I'm assuming is going to happen. Um, yeah, either one of those guys. But if I had to pick one, it's Robertson. But I just don't know how realistic that is because Gallus is obviously trying to make that work. So I guess of the other two, whichever one's more attainable, it might be Jared McCann. I'm guessing, but St. Louis has been trying to trade Kyrou too for a little bit, so we'll see. Josh L, Josh Langer, Novo doing live streams makes me want to shed a tear. It makes me want to shed a tear too. I'm very happy with doing this. This game looked like it came from last season's playoffs against the Canes. Totally agree, EV. That's what a lot of people have said in the chat so far. I mean, it looked like. I mean, I'll do you one better, man. It looked like 2 years ago the Lindy Ruff teams in the playoffs, right? It looked like you you could put any non-hockey fan in here and you can have them watch this Hurricanes team play against this Devil team sorry, you can have them watch that first period and you could just say, man, like this looks like a Stanley Cup contender going up against bottom tier in the league. Um, but that was just the first period. The Devils kind of turned it on after that, and things were a little bit better. But yeah, definitely more of the same. Markstrom had a lot to work with tonight. Movement wise, agreed, Justin. Yeah, pucks were all over him tonight. Plus, he was saved by the post 5 times. Yep, that's very true. Very true, Evie. Talking more about Markstrom. I like the stream a lot. Oh, thank you, Dimes. I appreciate that. Dimes, and I'll tell you what, I know Dimes, I know you're a Giants fan. I can't thank Bobby Skinner enough for all the help that he gave me in doing all this. And yeah, these streams are going to be really fun. We're going to have a blast with these here. Much love, buddy. Josh, you're the man. When Nason and Kovacevic come back, how long with Britsuk and Nemec being in Utica? Okay, so I guess your question is, well, okay, so let's talk about that for a second. The Gritsu conversation is interesting. I don't think he's going to be. I don't think they're going to send him down to Utica. But we'll see. I mean, it really depends on how he does. Like, he looked great in the preseason. Um, let's see how he does against NHL competition in the actual NHL regular season. Um, we'll see with him. The thing with Kovacevic is interesting because I was talking to Dan McKinnon the other day for my interview right here on Speaking of the Devils. You go check that out after this if you want. And the he made it very transparent that Kovacevic is part of this team. He's part of this lineup. And the financial commitment to him would obviously tell you that as well. But the thing is, he also viewed it at this time off, this time away from Kovacevic as an opportunity for guys like Nemec, right? And that overcrowded right side of the defense they have. So I'm intrigued to see. Maybe by that is that his coy way of saying that maybe this is a kind of a showcase thing for Nemec. Is Nemec going to go be part of the return in one of these big deals we talk about? I don't know. He's always the one that his name is floated around in there, right? Like with all these mock trades and everything like that. But I'm intrigued to see. I don't think I would view Nemec more as a trade candidate rather than a Utica candidate. It's gonna be fascinating whenever Kovacevic goes back down, man, or comes back up when he's back on this. When his cap hit is back on the books. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see. Um, but Gritsuk, I don't know. Like I don't know how much he benefits because a lot of these KHL guys, like I think he's either just maybe he could benefit from some time in the AHL for sure, but he's pretty old, So at one point, is it just like hurting his development, not stuffing him right into the NHL? Because that's the organization's view of him, is that he's a guy that you can just plug in the NHL and he'll kind of learn right away, like a lot of these other guys that come over from the KHL. So it's going to be interesting to see. Man, I love Bobby so much. He's a great guy. Shout out Bobby Skinner. Great guy. My man, I do love it. Giants Nation show for life. How are the Giants doing, by the way? Are they winning? Someone tell me in the chat, because I don't feel like looking it up right now. Basic guy, huge fan of you. Thank you so much, basic guy. I appreciate that. You are not a basic guy. You're an extraordinary guy. EV, Nemo looked really good early on, but we kind of tailed off as the. Yep, I completely agree. Oh my God, the Giants won 34-17. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy against the Eagles. I might be bad luck, man. I might be bad luck. Oh, I don't know. No, the Giants are just whatever. All right. Well, that was a fun first stream, guys. That was a lot of fun. We will be doing these more. Because now I only end this because now it's just tailing off into Giants talk in the chat. So we're gonna wrap up there. Please like and subscribe to Speaking of the Devils. You guys keep this YouTube show afloat. Please like and subscribe. Consider telling your friends about it so that we can keep going to these games and having a lot of fun. But either way, we'll be back. I think the Devils play Saturday against the Tampa Bay Lightning. We'll see if Dadonov is back in the lineup. We'll see what's the latest on him. Until then, for Speaking of the Devils, for me, Ryan Novozinsky, for my friend right here. Hello, how are you, sir? Sorry about that. Have a great day, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.